Did you hear that?
Yeah, recording now.
So, right, we're here for episode 2 of Lifting and Living, and we've got Glen Farnham on the line. How we doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How's yourself?
Not bad, cheers. Not bad. Um,
Good.
Obviously, still quite new to this. So, if I say and that a lot, then sorry, forgive me on that one. So, I just did it then.
Hey! Should we play a game where you have to do a shot every time you say
Oh, it lasts about 3 minutes. So, this is to try and get to know different strong men and strong women, all levels of the sport. And I've known you now for a good 2 or 3 years, and you're all right, I guess. You know, get on all
Oh,
right, I suppose. So
not
um,
bad.
I'll tell you what. Actually, let's. I've got an order of things to do and ask and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
it's only been 2 days since you competed, so I know it's quite fresh in your memory. Probably hurts a bit
Yeah.
still, doesn't it? But,
Yeah.
so on Sunday was just done it again. Shot on Sunday was last chance qualifier for the UKNS Worlds, and after you couldn't make it to Ireland,
Yeah.
obviously it was a great thing for you to go and do, but you've been struggling with a back injury for a good couple of months now, haven't you? So why don't you
Yeah.
tell us how it went and get your excuses in, really? So
Yeah. Get all my excuses in. You know what? I turned up there. You can't have many excuses if you turn up anyway. So,
yeah,
you know what? It was the last chance qualifier. I thought maybe I could scrape away with getting away with it. Maybe I thought like if I could hit just one rep of the deadlift and scrape by farmers, I thought like I had a good banker with the axle. I thought I had a good banker with the yoke. And I thought, you know what, power stairs doesn't seem to aggravate my back too much. If I could put in a mid-table performance, maybe I'll be able to qualify in. When I looked at going to Ireland, it was just the cost for me. Being realistic, I did get offers of sponsors eventually afterwards when I said I weren't going to do it, but I kind of thought like, no, I've made my decision. It was looking at costing about £500-600 to get over there for the weekend before spending any real money if I wanted to go out or have some food out or whatever it might be.
sometimes.
So I thought, to be fair, gone.
No, I just said to you about we shouldn't overlap each other, and I've just done it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Sometimes, well, you don't feel like it's sort of right to take sponsorship off people, do you?
yeah. I'll say, I mean, being realistic, and this is no knock to UKNS, and it isn't anything to BNSF as well. I've competed in both of them. They're not the biggest, and natural divisions aren't the biggest in strongman anyway. So, I mean, I love that it's getting pushed forward and it's getting pushed more. We're starting to see better athletes come into these divisions, and I love the fact that UKNS just did this last chance qualifier for people like myself who realistically I couldn't warrant spending that much money going over there to qualify. That it gave me a great opportunity to go to Preston, go to Chaos, and actually give an actual good account of myself. Unfortunately, I didn't give a good account of myself on the day, but that's my own mistake. I still turned up on the day. I never said anything to promoters or anything along those lines. My coach knew about it. I've spoke to you about it, but yeah, it was just I was hoping, like I say, I was hoping on the day that if I put my best performance in, that I might be able to hit a rep on the 260 kilo deadlift. In my head, I had 3 or 4. I was just thought maybe just get that one. Hopefully, adrenaline will get you through it. And if I can get the adrenaline going and just hit one and just walk away from it, I'd be happy. But once that went, my head went a little bit. I shouted all the f words, all the curses through the belt across the room, all that sort of thing, and it got into my head. I got onto the next couple of events. Then I like I say, I dropped out of the farmers because I couldn't even pick up the 100 kilo in the farmers. I couldn't even pick them up. It was 120 on the day, so I'd have a right job in doing that. The yoke aggravated my back. When I've uploaded the video, you can see when my back sort of like pinged on me. It was my own mistake. I probably shouldn't have turned up, but I just thought to myself, you know what? It is what it is. It's going to be a case of let's see if I can get through. I think I would have been more annoyed with myself if I didn't turn up for it. And I'm grateful for the opportunity that it actually gave like another chance to qualify for Worlds within England. 2 hours away, weren't too bad. I just didn't put it together on the day. That was it.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's not really been smooth sailing for you when it comes to the natural federations, is it? Because
No, unfortunately not.
uh, not too much detail, I guess, but when I was about to pick you up for last year's BNSF, I think you had the banana splits, didn't you?
Well, yeah, hamstring tearing the week before, weren't it? So and
Oh no,
hamstring hamstring
I thought you weren't well. I thought you
head up
wasn't
to
too
it,
well.
and then yeah, I had the banana. Yeah,
Sorry, was I not meant to?
yeah, hamstring issue, and then yeah, I had the no, yeah, I had the shits. I
I didn't know if you
didn't.
didn't.
I didn't want to risk trying to pull anything with that. So yeah, qualified for BNSF last year, and then I didn't make the finals. But you know what? I'll make an account of myself. I'll get back there for the next. I think next year I'm looking at doing both the UKNS and the BNSF, just dependent on dates, obviously, and if it clashes with anything I've got. But fingers crossed. I want to make a good of my account myself because I'm that guy who keeps qualifying for the Brits, and I'm not even fucking turning up for them.
Just, I know. Obviously, sometimes you see different guys and girls, and they don't turn up for finals, or they don't turn up to the big ones, and you think, you know, or they just don't fancy it or something. But I know for you, yours is genuine. I've seen you pull triples with 260, and I was picking you up on that BNSF one, and you literally saying I'm dying. You were down to about 96 kilos or something, weren't you? So
Yeah, yeah. So normally walk around about 102, 103. So when I was down to that, I almost could have made the water cut to the 90 in that time, but it was all bad stuff coming out of me, so it weren't good on the day.
yeah, so next year you'll be in there. What are your plans next year? I know you've said UKNS and BNSF, but are you staying in 105s?
No, I think looking at the guys there and being realistic to myself, I feel like I'm good enough to qualify the regionals. I'm good enough to make to Brits. Um, I don't think I'll ever challenge at 105 at like world stage, or I don't think I don't. When I look at the other guys in the 105 division, I am not as big as them. I
Yeah.
walk around. I walk around like I say about 102 kilos at the moment, and I'm pudgy. I'm fat. I'm a fat under 90 kilo guy to be realistic. No sign of abs or anything along those lines. Not that abs is a proof of your
Yeah.
strength, but at the end of the day, when you look at the top level under 90s, top level under 80s, these guys are fucking jacked. They're absolutely jacked. They are. They're running around about 10% body fat. Some of the top athletes and that, and it just makes me realise that I've just been getting away with being able to have that little bit bad of a diet, enjoying myself, going out at the weekends when I want to. And not that I regret that because I absolutely love having a bit of a social life and that, and I enjoy food out. But yeah, I think if I want to have a proper push at it, and I think just like a healthier lifestyle as well, I think dropping down to about weighing in around 95, 96 kilos and making those little cuts for when I want to go to under 90s, I think
Yeah.
that'll be a great area for me to work at.
Yeah, yeah, because I've kind of said to you for a little while, but not to sound like a know-it-all or anything like that. But I've always thought that you'd be pushing right at the top if you could get yourself down to the 90s. But it's easier said than done.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah,
would say to me, you should do the 80s, and I was thought, nah, no way. But actually, a bit of dedication and a few weeks or a few months of looking after yourself, and it soon comes off.
that's it. And like I say, having the support of like making sure like getting the food ready and stuff along those lines all really helps out. And I've been shit up with the food recently. Not been drinking like, I was making myself sound like an alcoholic here, but like I'll probably go out like once every 3-4 weeks, something along those lines, when I haven't got my little one, and just have like a few beers with the lads from the rugby club. My background being in rugby,
Yeah.
it was one of those where you go out, play a game, come back to the clubhouse, and you'd be like, "Oh, do you want a drink?" "Yeah, I'll have one or two." You find yourself half naked, shirt off somewhere, tie around your head, and 12 points in. So it's I've got to not trying to escape that culture, because I absolutely I love that culture, but like just being wary, not having as many times going out as what I used to do.
Yeah. So I'm just going to ask you a little bit then. So it's kind of like links into obviously one of the reasons you couldn't go to Ireland, and then you just mentioned there as well. So obviously, like, I'm the same. I've got a lot of financially because I've got kids and that. So just talking about like your personal life a bit more rather than just like strongman and training. But so you've got a young lad. Do you want to tell us about
Yeah.
him and where you found him?
Yeah. I woke up one morning, it turned out I had a child. No, I'm only joking. Yeah, I got my little boy, Charlie. He's 10 years old. When he gets the chance, he comes along to the gym with me. He comes along to the competitions. He's the loudest kid at the competition. He'll be shouting, "Come on, daddy!" So, number one supporter. He's absolutely brilliant for that. Can't knock him. He wants to follow in my footsteps. Wants to be super strong, he says, and all that. So, he can do whatever he wants, but he makes me proud anyway, because he's a little superstar in that. Such a smart kid, and the fact that he wants to come to the gym and wants to train and just make me proud. It's nice having him on board and supporting. And times when I've gone away, like to a competition which is an hour and a half, 2 hours away, and he's happy to go watch. He loves it. So fair play to him.
Like you say, I've when you've competed here at my place, you can always hear him over everyone, and he's always like, shouting you and that sort of thing. And like you say, you brought him here for training, and he's you don't have to force him, do you, to maybe have a go on something. He'll ask you to show him how to, even if it's just 30 kilograms, like deadlift and stuff like that. So
Yeah, he wants to give the stuff a go. If he's not got his head in the tablet or iPad, he wants to have a go at doing some of the exercises. And he always says he wants to get stronger and hit. I love it. He always says, "I want to hit a new PB." So, but I always make sure he gets his form right first before actually attempting any heavy lifts. The last thing I want is to be saying to the mother, "Oh, by the way, he's got a crippled spine because he tried to deadlift this."
just give him more hassle. Yeah. Um, so
Shot.
shot. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So like I say, I'm still quite new to this, so it probably doesn't flow as much as I would like it to. But what? So I know obviously you come from a rugby background, and I know with rugby, the coaches and all that, they're going to get you squatting, they're going to get you doing power cleans, pushing and pulling sleds, all that kind of stuff. So you've got that strength background, but what made you go, you know what, I'm going to go and do a strongman?
You know what? It was probably COVID. I've got a history of injuries in my knees. I'm making myself sound like a right cripple. Back injury this time, hamstring tears.
I'm
But
catching
no,
you.
I've had. I know you've only had one injury. Calm down. I've had I've had two major knee surgeries, three surgeries on my knees altogether. I've had an ACL reconstruction on my right knee, a PCL reconstruction on the left knee, and then just your standard keyhole surgery on the left knee as well. And I had them from the age of 19. I'm 35 now, and actually my knees have never been stronger than since when I've been doing strongman. What I found myself doing is, because like rugby was on a hold for a bit, I was just hitting the gym. I had gym equipment at home. Always as a kid, typically watching World's Strongest Man at Christmas. I've always thought, like, I wonder if I'd be any good at that, because I found myself naturally probably stronger than a few of the lads, even at the rugby club. When I work in a gym from 2009, been working in a gym, and I found myself, I was always naturally strong, but normal gyms, you don't get the opportunity to really test yourself with the stuff that they do on TV. So
Yeah.
I found my first like strongman gym just after like the first lockdown. Had a go. I really enjoyed myself. Like after 10 years of working in gyms, it was a whole new, fresher breath of air. I was a novice once again. So in doing that, I was like, oh, I actually quite enjoy this. So I trained it a few times, probably went to the gym once a week to do strongman. And then I had a look at competitions and what sort of weights they were doing. It's where I stumbled upon your competition for the first timers. It was like an under 105 first timers. And I thought, you know what? Bugger it, I'll give it a go. Let's see how I get on with it. And yeah, I did all right in that one, and just
Hold
really
on, hold
enjoyed
on,
myself. And
hold on. What do you mean you did all right?
I did all right.
You won. You mean you won it?
Don't want to blow my own trumpet,
Yeah.
but yeah,
After
I mean, like it was, like I say, novice comp. It was first timers.
yeah,
Go on.
something like that, or novice or something. Yeah, something like that. I can't quite remember myself now. I think I was thinking, well, no one's putting on any competitions because they're all like, not all, but just a lot of places were scared to do it, weren't they? And I just went, no, I'm doing it. I was say one spectator,
Oh, yeah.
big outdoor space, and thought, no, I'm doing it. So I'm quite glad I did because we're all in touch, quite a few of the lads from that comp, aren't we? And everyone's still competing. So
Yeah, yeah. I was going to say, I still speak if, on Instagram. I still see quite a few of them doing their lifts and that. I now train regularly with yourself when we get the opportunity.
yeah,
Got a few more people into. It's got a few more people into the sport. Andy Barbley, who I still speak to, he was at the competition as well. I think he came second or third on the day. He was supposed to do under 90s, but had to go up to the under 105s. I think it was that day, and he still absolutely smashed it. He really gave me a run for my money.
92.
Um, yeah, there was a Mantis as well, who's done a couple of competitions I've seen him do, and he's still lifting up. He's still doing some competitions and that. So
You know
yeah,
what?
it's a
Just going to sorry, done that overlap thing again, but just going on. I mean, there's a thing there. Mantis, he was like 105, something like that day,
yeah,
and now he competes at 90.
yeah,
Yeah, and
and
it's
yeah. I thought he was a big lad on the day, and then I realised I realised I'm still a big lad, but I'm just carrying the body fat. So
yeah,
it'll get down into that. Like I say, when I see people like that getting down into those lower weight categories, and for instance, Andy, who was like 92 on the day, but he's competing at under 90, some of these numbers he's putting up, he's ridiculous. He's really bloody good.
yeah.
And I've found myself in the same competitions of him a couple of times now, whether we compete directly against each other or he's in a different category. He's really performing at the moment, so fair play to him.
That's the thing you've got to watch out though. If you go into the 90s, it's all right. Like you're strong statically or stronger, but then they're fast, aren't they? Though these lighter guys, so you have to work on that as well. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
definitely.
so just, I don't want to make these too. I don't want to make these too long. I mean, us two, we could talk training, strongman, all that kind of stuff, quite a lot. So
Yeah.
I do want to maybe, I think maybe I don't know if I'll call it fun, but like 5 questions, like at the end of like these little interviews, that maybe they're the same 5 for everyone, and it just kind of tells us maybe a little bit more about you, but keeping these interviews to like 30 minutes, I think maximum, because
Yeah.
who wants to hear me go?
I was going to say, we don't want to bore everybody after the first 5 minutes anyway.
Yeah, that's right. So if you're still watching at this point, well done to all both of them.
Gold star for you.
Yes. Right. You don't have to answer them real fast, but you can, elaborate a little bit.
Okay.
Does it dead, alive, don't matter. Who's your favourite strongman or strongwoman?
Uh, Probably the one I used to watch the most as a kid, Mariusz Pudzianowski.
Yeah.
I was always super impressed how fast, how ripped, how strong he was, whether it was strong statically, moving. The guy just looked like he just looked like a bodybuilder who was inflated. He was huge. Like I know he's like compared to other strongmen, he wasn't big necessarily, but like it just impressed me how this guy who was maybe only 130, 140 kilos was just outdoing all these other people. And like, it looked like if he wanted to go run a marathon, he could do that. It looked like he could do everything. So that's what impressed me most with him. So I'll probably say Mariusz Pudzianowski got me watching the most. There's obviously looking at the new. I think now when you look at the new age era of people, there's better athletes, there's stronger ones, but that's progression of the sport. That is. But yeah, definitely Pudzianowski was probably the guy I watched the most and was most impressed by.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Him and Magnus Samuelsson kind of got me into it, and
Yeah, he was fantastic as well.
clearly didn't know what I was on about. Could say that still. Shot. Well, why don't these like big guys like get down and look like them, and then they'll be as fast and stuff like that. But obviously, it's not as easy as that. Next question. It can be
No,
one.
not at all.
It could be one that you've competed at, trained at. Don't worry, I won't be offended when you don't say mine. What's the best gym you've ever been to?
Best gym, probably Rhinos in Tamworth.
Yeah,
It's not too far from mine. They just had a whole revamp of the gym, and it is looking smart in there. It's looking really smart, to be fair. Got loads of equipment. I mean, at the end of the day, Anthony's guys there, they run competitions for like England's strongest, so they're gonna have some real good. They're gonna have some real good equipment there. They're top of the line stuff. You got BTB who work out of there as well, so any kind of stone you want, natural or get those sleeves, etc. I've got to say, probably that facility at the moment is probably the best strongman gym I've been to. I just don't get my opportunity to get down there enough, unfortunately.
yeah,
No offense, Ash.
that's fine. Yeah, I haven't actually trained in the new one because being injured and all that, I just haven't really bothered to do all that stuff. But one of my favorite, maybe even my favorite competition was when I did Tamworth. From nowhere, but
That was
really good day, good events. And makes time to come and say hello to you and that. So he's very busy. So yeah, totally, I'd agree with you there, mate. It's a nice place. So we'll have to meet up and get a session down there if they'll have us.
definitely.
I mean, it kind of probably links into the first question, but if you could have just a one-off 2-hour training session with anyone in the world, didn't have to even have to be a strongman, who would it be?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Arnie. I mean, who better to train with than Arnie?
Yeah. I've got a feeling out of all the guys I'll probably do this with, I think there's going to be a lot of Arnies and Stallones. So
Yeah, Arnie. I mean, like, how many times have I watched Terminator 2 and that? More than anything, if I had 2 hours to spend with him, it wouldn't even necessarily be training. I would love to pick his brain. The guy is an absolute animal. He's such a smart person. I mean, yes, training with strong men. If it had to be strong men or something along those lines, then maybe a Novikov or Matthias Kieliskowski or Mitch Hooper as well. One of these like hybrid athletes, if I had to choose an athlete to train with, just because they're all round so good. But then again, Martins Lisis as well. He's right up there. But again, if I had to spend 2 hours with somebody, I think with the charisma, his background, just how he's transcended fitness, not just his sport of bodybuilding, but fitness in general. You got the Arnolds nowadays. I'd love to spend any amount of time with Arnie.
yeah. Well, I did once, but it was about 7 seconds for one of them quick photo things.
About £500 for a quick photo like that.
Yeah, it was my wife does these like crazy, great Christmas presents, and I've done that and Stallone, but it is a bit mad. Oh yeah, all right, get out. Yeah.
Quick photo. Yeah.
I know, yeah, it's most expensive 7 seconds.
Ooh, friend.
And yeah. Next one. Again, I'll probably have to rethink some of these questions because it kind of links into one from earlier, or what you've said about earlier. But you wake up tomorrow, strongman has been banned. What sport do you move into?
I'd probably go back to rugby.
That's what,
That'd be quite simple.
yeah, that's what I
Go
mean.
back to rugby, but I mean, like I'd imagine some strongmen will say powerlifting, but no offense to powerlifters, I've got utmost respect for them. It just to do the same thing in the gym without moving, like 3 exercises and then your accessory work. It's I mean, that's probably very uneducated of me to say that about their training because obviously there's more than that. But just to train for 3 events, that wouldn't entertain me. Whereas with strongman, I know I've got 5 events, 6 events coming up in a competition. I can train for them. But then if I want to have a play around and do something which isn't on that comp, I could say log's not on the competition. I can train that. Yeah, so that's why I wouldn't do powerlifting. It's just not too entertaining for me. But yeah, if I was go back into a sport, if I was 100% fit, it'd have to be rugby again.
Yeah, like I said, but maybe just an obvious one for you. You know,
And if it wasn't if it wasn't rugby and it wasn't strongman, I'd probably have. I've always been entertained with MMA. Growing up watching the UFC and then learning more about it, Pride FC and all this. I'd love to get into a bit of that, but I'm too old. I'm too much of a pussy. My knees won't work. I'd get absolutely destroyed. But it's not to say I wouldn't give it a good damn shot.
Right, after hearing Matt Fraser like pop both ACLs and medials and all kinds of other stuff doing jiu-jitsu, I think I'd be scared to go back to doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my knees are bad enough already. I think the sign of the first like lock or sign of the first stroke, I'll be tapping out in seconds.
Yeah. We ain't even started yet, mate. What are you tapping out for?
That was the handshake, and I'm already tapping out.
Yeah, I remember doing it once and kept getting tapped out by this guy like over and over and over again, and then I saw someone else like bend the wrist back. So I did it to this guy, and he had a right huff because I was a white belt. Couldn't do that. No, I'll be too. I'll be too worried about my knees now. I never thought I'd be one of them guys. Oh, my knees. But yeah.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah. Last one then. And it can be a simple thing, or it can be you can ramble on for. We've got 8 minutes left until we have to cut this off.
Okay.
One change in strongman, what would it be? You can upset some people,
think,
or you can keep it very small. It's up to you.
One change. If I had to pick one change, I think it would just be like universal ruling. So you're all singing off the same hymn sheet. There's so many different federations, so many different divisions. There's so many different what they class as a lockout. For instance, a log. I saw one competition the other day, floor to overhead. The next competition, it was one clean. Then it's as many presses as you can do from there. Just a bit more standardization. We saw it at the Arnolds when they had the dumbbell overhead, and sometimes that was a lockout. Other times it has to be up straight and locked out. And it's just that standard refereeing, standards in refereeing, standards in what the event should be. Don't get me wrong, I like that the whole point of strongman is we get all these different events, but once the event is established, I think it needs a set of laws to go by to say what is a rep and what isn't a rep, just so there's no confusion in it. But I mean, part of the reason I love this sport is the variation of what you can be doing and what's the sort of like, if you're not good at one event, you can be good at another event. But yeah, just the having a bit more standards. It's little things like how many people complain about a bar, like if it's a deadlift, like in its own certain plates. I mean, at our level, it doesn't really matter, but when you're going up to the top level, and they're complaining about little bars and the bars and what they are and all that, then yeah, maybe it should be more standardized to there. Our level, anything that isn't professional, it doesn't matter. But like when you see so many complaints about the professionals with this sort of standards of refereeing and that's not a knock to the referees. They don't know what should be a standard for them. And when you talk about established sports in football, rugby, tennis, cricket, whatever it may be, the standards, boxing, MMA, they have the standards, they have the laws there, and that's a big difference in what strongman is.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a common sort of answer. Like, few people are probably going to say that because it is a subject, isn't it? Trying to have this, standardization sort of throughout strongman, like I say, especially at the high levels and such. So, yeah.
Even little things like how many different divisions have different weight classes. Like we just had a pop up for the women. The under 57s has just popped up for a few. Great, I think that's great. The more divisions, the better it can be. Obviously, we don't want to oversaturate the divisions where like you could be doing like boxing where there's so many. But like I've seen, I've seen under 100 kilos. I've seen 105 kilos. I've seen a 95 kilos. I think for the men, the standard should be like the under 80, the under 90, the under 105, and then maybe the under 120s, because I think that would be a great division as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think just having like set weight classes, and I think having those set rules will push the sport forward, because then the federations can work off that.
Well, that's a good shout. Yeah. So, for any of the top boys who are watching this, there you go. I think you're going to have a lot of guys maybe say something similar. So, yeah, that's a good shout, mate. Sure. So there's only a couple of minutes left on this. I did want to keep them to like 30 minutes, but hopefully, it's been good talking to you today, even if it is topping sort of 40. So I'll just probably end it there then with you. It's been nice chatting, mate, and huge good luck on sorting out your back and head, shoulders, knees, and toes, all your injuries and that. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you get into that 90s, because I think it's going to cause some serious sort of damage, especially
the
sort of federations you've been competing at. So yeah.
Bit by bit, I'll get there. I've got the plan. I've got it down. I'm hoping I'll be able to make under 90s by the end of this year at least. You'll see over the next few months when I next come train with you. There'll be not the so fat version of me. I might be able to jog or move a little bit better. So we'll see.
Channel your Ed Cole. I'll have to get Ed on it.
Channel, yes. AZ.
I knew you were going to say that. I'll say that. But I'll ask Ed to come on. So just quickly before we end this, Ed is a guy who competed in that competition. That was your first one, and he was in the 105, and he only just made weight. He now weighs 75 kilos, and he is ripped. So I'm gonna ask Ed on. He's nice guy, isn't he? So cool. Right, I did say I was going to end it there. I will now. Glenn, it's been a pleasure. And thanks to both people that have watched it to the end.
Pleasure.
And that's Glen Farnham, everyone. 105 90 strongman. Thanks a lot, mate. I'll see you there.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, pal.
Pleasure.